with it in the hood with it. Welcome back to the collective clips where you already know we get it in. But before we get it in, let's hit that like and subscribe button. Ding. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directing the direction of the dope content I'm kicking. And I highly appreciate all the support, man. We're going up on this channel and it's all because of you. And for that, I can say I'm very humble, but even more so, I'm appreciative. I appreciate it. I appreciate every single like, view, fast forward, rewind, everything I get. Thank you guys, man. I couldn't do it without you. So here's some breaking news. Here's an update. Danny Masterson, right? Oh, hell nah. Can't you just let this guy do his time? Fuck him and fuck you for saying that. Look, I'm going to be real and honest with you. When I heard this information, when I seen it, and I got to give respects to Dubs as well as Jumpsuit Pablo. They're the ones who broke this. I was kind of flabbergasted, but at the end of the day, I understand and I can see and I know where he's at and what it is. So I see the truths with it. So I guess Jumpsuit Pablo dropped some information saying that per a source that he has or that's putting shit out there about Danny Masterson that has eyes on Danny Masterson. I kind of lost touch with what was going on with him. I forgot all about him. I mean, who wants to keep up with a chomo, right? Or excuse me, my bad. I got to be politically correct. A rapo. Who wants to keep up with that? I figured he was doing his time. He's working on his appeal. It is what it is. I know once they shot him to the CMC yard, he was going to be comfortable. And that's exactly what they're saying. And in fact, word on the curb is, I guess when he first got to that place, he got ran up on. Now we know when he went to Corcoran prison, the SNY yard, he was approached and ran up on, confirmed by the BBCs. No, not the big black, but by the Brothers by Choice, which is an SNY group comprised of mostly ex-dropouts from the NLR and just white guys, brothers, Woods, brother, that have come together for no other reason than to beat people up and extort and take people's shit. For whatever reason, they felt that Danny Masterson shouldn't be on that yard, so they ran up on him. That was thwarted real quick by the cops, man. They were able to grab his hair, grab him by the greña and pull him back, lean back. And that was that. He was moved from there to segregation, from there to CMC, which is more of a comfortable yard for him. It's considered probably the softest, if not one of the softest yards. That, Mule Creek, as well as Prisney Land and Chowchilla are the softest yards in the California Department of Corrections. That's where Danny Masterson is going to do the majority, the bulk of his time. We'll see what happens on appeal. Again, man, guilty or not guilty, he's there. He's sentenced to 30 years, and that's just what it is. For the people that are crying, that are trying to stay in his corner like Adele's song, and wondering, and saying, hey, they got this guy without a shred of evidence. Hey, if a woman says something and they believe her, they believed her. That's it. Doesn't matter ultimately whether you did it or not. If you're convicted of it, that's what's in your C file, and that's what you have to run with. But this guy had a long history of antagonizing women, threatening women, and doing what he did. So I think he's in the most comfortable and the most righteous place he should be in. Actually, he should be in high desert fucking beef facility doing what he does, right? Let's see how that would work out for him. But that's not going to be the case. They're going to keep him in SNY, segregated. Let's see if they try to integrate his yard. Let's see if they try to integrate Danny Masterson. Bet that won't happen. How much you guys want to bet? My money's on he's going to stay right where he's at. But what Jumpsuit Pablo put out there, and I know Dubs did a reaction video to it, is that he was ran upon and then he was protected. Now, let me explain to you why I believe this. First and foremost, I believe on that yard that he's on, people don't see him as a liability or a threat. They don't see him as, hey, if we remove him, if we get rid of him, it's going to be a brighter day. It's going to be a sunnier day. It's kind of like there's a lot of guys that have similar cases. A lot of chomos, a lot of rapists, a lot of pedophiles, a lot of weirdos on that yard that they put him on. They put him on that particular yard for a reason. Now, there are going to be dropouts. There are going to be people that debriefed or whatever, but there's not going to be too many dropout gang members there on them yards. They mostly go to higher levels, 3 and 4 yards, because they catch certain points and they're trying to keep these gang members like, oh, you want to gangbang? You want to do that within the system, whether you're active or non-active, but consider yourself active. They're going to place them together so they can fight it out amongst themselves. But these guys that are just trying to be programmers and program and just do their time, they're going to take care of them. Okay, the CDCR has a long history of taking care of these weirdos. It just is what it is. You hear a lot of stories about these guys getting ran up on, getting booked and smashed. And people say, well, you know, the CDCR plays a hand in that. Absolutely not. It's correctional officers that are grown men that don't like those type of people that play a hand in it individually. But as far as the whole, these guys are protected. It's the truth. You fuck around with the chum or you beat up on someone like that, man, you're going to catch a hate crime. You're going to be stretched out. You're going to catch the duration. So the best thing, that's the way they spook people and leave these guys alone, let them do their time. Of course, that's never going to happen. People feel obligated to do it, and righteously so. Nobody wants to be around a pedophile or a rapist. It's just not going to work out that way. So anyways, when Danny Masterson was moved there, I could see guys probably approaching him like, what's up? What's up with it? But money buys my backup, right? This guy has money. Money in prison is the greatest commodity you could have. There's two commodities in prison, your word and money trumps your word. It does it every time. I've seen people's word get smutted up and thrown under the bus for money. Okay, there's a lot of have-nots in prison. There's a lot of people that don't have family, don't have a support system. Nobody's taking care of them. So there's a lot of prison hustle. And there's a lot of people on the other side, which is the SNY side, that would rather extort people, play them out of pocket, get close to them, manipulate them into getting in their pockets, because there are those that do have bread. Danny Masterson is well known to be a millionaire. He has money. Whether he's incarcerated or not for whatever crimes he did or didn't do, he has money. And money can buy you backup. If not buy you backup, it could buy you a comfortable bed on that yard. And I think that's why, you know, these guys backed him up, because according to Jumpsuit Pablo, he's saying that a group of guys came to his defense and told these other guys, leave him alone. No, don't touch him. Leave him alone. We just want to touch him a little bit. No, don't touch him. Right? This is a whole bunch of guys that touched people arguing over who's going to touch Danny Masterson. Ultimately, that was not the case. He didn't get touched on. Okay? Are there going to be others that try to run up on him and do bad things to him? On an individual basis, I'm sure. But the prison yard he's on, you have to understand, this is the softest yard in the system. This is a yard comprised of weirdos and people with weird cases. So they're not... Nobody wants to go to the hole over Danny Masterson. Nope, none of them dudes want to fuck up what they got going on that yard over a guy that's, what are you going to do? Beat him up, stab him? What notoriety are you going to get from that? People are going to be like, oh, next week they're going to be talking about who P. Diddy diddled next, right? That's the way it works in prison. You know, nothing has a shelf life. Nothing has legs, brother, right? Get your coffee, because it's about to be a crazy ride on Danny Masterson, brother. No one cares. You know, what's today's news is old news tomorrow. That's a fact. So, you know, according to Jumpsuit Pablo, this guy is living comfortable. But he's not living any differently than any other California prisoner. You know, a canteen, commissary. Yes, if you have the money, you're going to be afforded commissary. That's one of your rights or one of the privileges you have in the prison system, whether you're active or non-active. There's going to be commissary. There's going to be packages. There's going to be visitation. There's going to be letter writing. You know, there's a lot of guys, old school convicts in prison or that are no longer with us, that fought for those rights. Because best believe, don't think it works out in your favor all the time. Don't think just because you're afforded certain privileges, you can't lose them like that. Any little thing, believe me, them CDC officers will take them privileges away from you. But Danny Masterson is on a dill pickle yard, a comfortable kosher fucking yard playing Dungeons and Dragons. He's chilling amongst a whole bunch of guys of like-mindedness. So I don't see nothing really happening to him. Now, according to Jumpsuit Pablo, this guy got ran up on by a group. And I kind of question the validity in that. Not saying that his source is not speaking truth, but at the same time, who? Why? What did they think they were going to gain out of that? I don't see none of these weirdos really approaching him in that manner and not getting nothing out of it. Maybe they wanted to extort him for money. Maybe other guys seen a play. That was their play. Hey, if we protect him, if we stand up for him, then he's going to look out for us. See, a lot of these guys that have money, they'll do that if they're weirdos. They'll look out for people. Even on the active side, guys that are active, that have good charges, people like Suge Knight that in the past, if you know the story on Suge Knight, he was in Mule Creek prison when Mule Creek was active before it turned into an SNY prison, period. That joint became SNY on every yard. It was an active yard. My Theo Joe was on that yard with Suge Knight. Suge Knight worked in the kitchen with my Theo Joe. And my Theo Joe said that when he got there, when Suge Knight got there, he was approached by several of the black, gang members on that yard. And just because you're a big fella and just because you got respect on the streets, that doesn't warrant prison time. That doesn't leak off into prison. Prison's a whole different animal in a different world. What respect you have out there, you have to earn that in prison. And he bought himself out of the bullshit. He bought TVs for all the black guys on the yard, was looking out for people because he was having money like that. Okay? Suge Knight already had that notoriety of being a well-known gang member with status on the streets. He went into the prison system and he utilized the money and the resources he had to make his time more comfortable. Money makes your time comfortable. It does, whether it's commissary packages, being able to facilitate visits every weekend. I mean, it's the creature comforts in life that people take for granted. If you're able to facilitate those with bread, then your time's going to be a little bit easier. Doesn't mean you're still not going to have to fight. Doesn't mean you're still not going to have to go to the hole. Doesn't mean people aren't going to try to extort you or run up on you, because it's a double-edged sword. It's two sides to every coin. You might have all the money and people might be envious and hate on you and kite you off that prison or rush you just because you have something they don't have. See, everybody is trying to get in everybody's pockets. Some people are trying to get in your back pocket. Now, I'm sure Danny Masterson's been approached on that level too. I think that's kind of why the GBGs wanted to get at him. For one, they heard he had some fucking, basically something against gay men. But at the second, maybe they wanted to get in his back pocket and see what it do, Wes Watson. What it do? How many licks does it take to get to the middle of Danny Masterson's pudding pop? They did the owl on him, right? But I'll tell you this. If he was ran up on and protected, there could be some truth to that. There could be some validity to that because, I could see people doing that because these guys are like, if I protect this guy, if I speak up for him, and you got to understand a lot of the guys doing it, they don't give a fuck. That's one thing about the other side. You'll hear there's guys that still, if you're a child killer, a chomo, or a weirdo, you're going to get rushed. You're going to get smashed off the yard. You're going to get extorted, beat up. Everything's going to get taken from you. But then there are guys that don't care. They're just trying to do their time. They've turned Christian or they don't care what you're in for. As long as you don't bring that mess around them and speak on it in front of them, you just do you and they're going to do them. Okay, but there's always those that are on those yards that are trying to come up, that are struggling, and they see a man with money. They're either going to do one or two things. They're either going to beat him up because they don't want to see that. They don't want to see someone like that eating in front of them or having it his way, or they're going to try to be best friends with that dude so that they can get off into his pocket. True story. That's how it goes. So, CMC, the history of CMC, and there's two yards, CMC East and CMC West. Okay, he's on CMC East yard from what I hear. Okay, that yard has always been soft. It's one of the first dropout yards. It's also one of the first yards that they opened for SNY where they were sending guys with real, soft shoe chronos is what we call them in prison. Guys that have very, very, very serious safety and security concerns. See, that's why the SNY was established. It was established for people like Danny Masterson, people that they know, the administration knows go to yards, they're going to either be extorted, beat up on, or taken advantage of. They have safety and security concerns. Then when the dropout population, the gang members began to drop out and go non-active and push away from their gangs, they utilized them yards to house them as well because now there was a safety and security concern. The concern being that if these guys were put on yards, general population yards, they would be outmanned and overwhelmed. It's not that these guys were punks and didn't want to go to the yard. It's just that that's just the way it was. Okay? They couldn't place these guys. And I mean, the CDC has tried various different yard placements. They've tried 50-50 yards. And a lot of people have asked me, what's a 50-50 yard? A 50-50 yard was, say the Norteños were non-active and non-functioning. They still were checking paperwork. They still were with the rhythm. They just weren't functioning up under a prison gang. They were placed on yards with active whites, active blacks, active others. And that's just the way it went. 50-50 yards lasted for a little bit. And then they became non-existent. They're not existent anymore. It's because a lot of these prison gangs started telling their people, if you're functioning with trash, trash is trash. It doesn't matter what group they're from. If they're not from your gang, trash is trash. So they eventually started sending all the guys from the 50-50 yards to the SNY yards, period. Because over there was a different type of element of people. There was guys that didn't care, and they all functioned together, and it just was what it was. You do your time how you're going to do your time. It's still time. Facts. So anyways, is Danny Masterson getting extorted on the yard? Probably not. But what I think he's doing is giving up the ghost. He's paying what he's weighing. He might be laying with the guy that he's weighing too, but he's also paying what he's weighing. And that's probably the most comfortable and smart thing he could do. If you got it, you could only use so much of it. I remember there was a white guy. I'm going to tell you guys a story. He was a white guy. I did time with him out of state. And when he first got in there, he had never been locked up. And I seen him, we're in R&R together. We pulled up on the bus, and I seen a couple of the Woods approach him. What's up, brother? You know what I mean? But he was like, hey, he didn't want to be part of the gang thing. He didn't want to be a part of that. And the prison system we were in was in Oregon, right? And in that system, you can kick it with whoever you want to kick it with. Just because you're white doesn't mean you have to join a white group or a white gang. It's not racially divided like that. I've seen whites kick it with blacks, and everyone's mixed up, okay? You do have white gangs, Woods, that function, Irish Pride, and different groups, EK and The Brood, and all these different groups, you know, IPS, and just a bunch of different gangs. But just because you're white doesn't mean you have to function with them. Okay, so I see him, we start chopping it up. He's like, hey, bro, I ain't never been to prison, whatever. Bam, what's up, bro? We're cool. We became friends, you know, not enemies. We became friends just because he was a cool dude. And we'd go out to the yard and we'd chop it up. And wasn't very many Northerners, so I was able to talk to whoever I wanted to talk to. And he was cool, and he was right there in the pocket. He was cool, man, on the hip. And I would lace him up. Hey, bro, you know, in prison, if something does crack off between races, you might want to join your people or whatever. And there would be white dudes that approached him, and they kind of figured out how he was and what he was doing. Come to find out, it's canteen time. This guy's like, hey, bro, do you need anything at first? You know, you don't want to get nothing from anyone else because then you feel you're indebted to them. And you've seen them movies. Don't take nothing from anyone in prison because next thing you know, they're going to be cornholing you. Give me your cornbread, brother, right? But it was nothing like that. He was like, you need anything? Fuck it. I didn't have anything. I was like, hell yeah. He's like, give me a $50 list. Boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, hey, money's getting sent to my books. He's having his wife send money. We were having it our way. We're balling out of control. Okay? So one day I pull him to the side like, hey, bro, I'm not trying to use you. I wasn't trying to use this guy, but where do you get this money from? Like, bro, I'm not trying to be in your business. Well, I'm not going to tell you exactly who his father was, but let's just say his father's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. His father was a drummer for a group in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Trust fund, baby. He had money. After I found that out, hey, the bird's in the kitchen. The palm's itching. What the chef cooked about a quarter chicken, right? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and need money. When I paroled with $2,500 on my books. This guy looked out for me, man, just because he was the homie like that, you know? He had bread. Like I said, if you have it, why not utilize that as a way for protection? But also, not even more so than that, you know, people use that, you know, as a poker chip, you know? And so I could see Danny Masterson doing the exact same thing. Now, whether this is true that Jumpsuit Pablo was putting out that he got ran up on or not, we'll never know. It could be for content purposes. But just taking that story and seeing it from the outside looking in, I could see it happening. You know, as far as what Jumpsuit Pablo said, that he's living comfortable and he's enjoying the same fucking creature comforts as anyone else in prison would be enjoying with money. Okay? But just like in every coin, man, there's a flip side. He could be being extorted, beat up on the unders, selling, you know, but I doubt it on that yard that he's on, to be honest with you. So soft. I don't see no one really wanting to waste their time on that guy. Okay? You get a whole bunch of those weirdos together. Yeah, they're going to fight over, no, that's my domino game. That's my domino game, right? But I don't see them. No, I don't want to play Yahtzee. Uno, right? I can see all those weirdos doing that, fighting over the Uno cards. Why you put a reverse? You put a reverse, right? They're all weirded out. But I don't see, and they'll probably push each other and argue, you know, no, I want to be the mage. No, I want to be the wizard, right? Fighting over the Dungeon and Dragon game. But I don't really see him getting stabbed or beat up on. If it would have happened, I believe it would have already happened. You know, I think he's living just like any other California prisoner day to day, doing his time. Anyways, I just wanted to put that out there, man. An update on Danny Masterson. You know, is it a big old surprise that people try to run up on him? No. He's going to be continually ran up on, especially if he's transferred out of that prison. If he goes somewhere else, it could get drastic very fast, you know, and that's the way the system works. You could be there comfortable one day and the next day you could be all the way in high desert like, why? Because, right? And that's just it. They don't have to give you a reason. It's the California Department of Corrections. That means all California. You're subject to be changed anytime they want. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Get every single thing that you want coming. And remember, at the end of the day, it's all about the strive, the struggle, the struggle, the strive. Let me know exactly what you think. Do you think Danny's in there having it his way like Jumpsuit Pablo said? Or do you honestly believe that he's in there paying to get by? You know, polar bears will back my play. No, we won't, brother. No, we the fuck won't, weirdo. Right? I ain't never seen a white man protect a chomo in my life, and that's true facts. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Heavy's gonna be the head that wears the crown. I'm gonna continue to strive, struggle for what I honestly and truly believe in, and that's providing the best possible entertainment I can on YouTube and doing what I do. Who likes Super Norteño, Super Sureño, Super Wood? We got other super characters coming, man. Make sure you guys tap in. I appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, forward this. Send it out to everyone, man. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Bang, bang.